All right, well, Dusty, I'd like to say thank you for joining us on King's Cast, man. It's been a pleasure. I actually found your music. I found you on Twitter, and your music blew me away, so I had to put you on. So go ahead and tell everyone that's going to be joining, will be joining, and tell them who you are and what you're about.
My name is Dusty Grant. I'm a independent singer-songwriter out of Wichita, Kansas. I come from a metal background. I fronted metal bands before this. I had twins. I had some life-changing experiences, changed my whole perspective on everything, from a business standpoint, from a happiness standpoint, from I don't know, just from all walks of life. I had some adversity that I faced, and I got through it, and I've come out on the other side. And this is kind of what I want to do. I'm putting my heart into it. So the music is just I'm writing songs, I'm recording them, regardless of who likes them. I want to put out something I can be proud of. I want to meet people, and I want to grow as an artist, and that's what brought me here. So I'm stoked about how it's going so far. I got a long way to go, but I'm super happy to be on the show, man. I appreciate the invite. Of course, it's great to connect on Twitter.
Oh, man, it's a pleasure. And it's funny that you say with all the adversity, and I was thinking, like, adversity never stops. It always hits you. And the biggest adversity that I see for right now, for at least for musicians, it could be for anybody in all walks of life, but COVID, I feel like has put a little wedge between musicians because concerts, everything that happens where they can put themselves out. So how has COVID affected you and your career?
Well, to be honest with you, I've found a silver lining, but I guess I would definitely start out by saying the live shows for me were like the biggest part of my opportunity to sell myself, to sell my brand, to put on a good show, to network with people, to connect with the bar owners, to connect with the people working in the venues, to connect with other artists. I mean, that's the brain stem of where everything happens when you're at the level of where I'm at as an independent artist. You want to network, you want to meet those people, you want to get that face to face, you want to make that connection. So you take all that away, and that was like my main selling platform. That's where I sold, and I'm a salesman by trade. In work, I have a marketing background. So you get me in a room with people and let me put my show on, let me do what I do, and hopefully it connects with some people, and just be genuine, and create art, and meeting people is what it's all about for me. I don't really care about the numbers or the money or all that. I have to be cognizant of that because our business is dictated by that. You do have to grow your numbers. You do have to be on your numbers. You do have to take it seriously. But I felt like I could slack on some of that stuff because I was on the road. I'm like, it's fine if I don't post about this because I'm going to see 50 people tonight, and I'm going to make some connections, whatever it may be, whether I become a fan of their music. They might be a booking agent, might just be a cool person. You might buy somebody a beer, whatever. So you're taking all that away. I don't have an opportunity to sell. On the other hand, it's made me second guess everything about, I've basically created a venue for myself now with the live streaming platform that I've been working on, and the podcasting and learning broadcasting like you. I know we've had some discussions, leading up to this episode about, just talking as friends, networking, like, hey, yo, how are you doing this? How are you doing? It's cool, man. Like, we're sharing, but I'm learning and I'm making those connections. And I'm not sitting here right now with you by any circumstance at all had I not been reevaluating that, because the live shows were taken from me. So I do view it as like almost a silver lining. I know I'm talking a lot about it, but this is something that's super present in my mind. And it's something that like this is my fourth podcast in 4 days, and I'm grinding, and I almost feel like I'm out playing shows, like
Yeah.
it's getting that experience, learning, meeting people, and it's been great. So I definitely haven't been sitting around resting on my laurels. I feel like all I've done is grown the entire time. It's given me some time to reflect and grow.
Do you feel like you're reaching a whole different spectrum of audience since you've been live streaming?
Absolutely. There's two focuses that I think contribute to that. I think the first one is I started to get way more active on Twitter. I'm a social networking guy. I like it. I like the marketing. I like the aspect of connecting with other artists, supporting, growing, all that type of thing. But so I've grown a little bit of an audience, and an army of people that, it's not a big army, but it's a small army of people that support me and I support them. And I'm finding this community, the Twitch community, to be the exact same way. Like, if another streamer sees you and they have 5 minutes to pop in and drop a comment, they do. And that is just, man, that just fills your heart. You know, you're like, we have an opportunity to connect with people, and we have people out there supporting us still. So I'm fortunate that I have a career as well. So I'm doing all this as another hustle. But I know there's artists out there that aren't as fortunate as I am. So, you know, I feel like I'm sitting in a really good position to where I'm almost like feeling guilty. I'm like, I've had so much time to grow and develop, and all these things have been happening, but I know people are out there really struggling. So I'm definitely sympathetic towards that. I work in the food business, so I see what it's done to that community, you know.
Oh yeah, for sure. And like, since let's say since live shows have been taken away from you, what have you supplemented? I think I saw one of your shows live on Twitch. So you use some form of concerts, but on Twitch now. How's that worked? How's that experience for you?
I find myself feeling just about as nervous for those as I do for a concert in person. The weird thing about those is like I do find myself almost messing up more because I'm sitting in my jam room at home where I normally jam, and it's like kind of my room for zen. So like when I'm streaming, I kind of feel more I feel more at home because I am at home where I jam. So when I'm streaming, it's like the venue is where you see me writing, where you see me streaming, where you see me podcasting. Like this is where I practice, this is where I write my tunes, everything. It's where I stream from. It's like so it I'm still nervous for it, and I feel like it's a performance, but I almost feel like in some ways it's more intimate because the people in the comments and the people chatting and interacting with the show are like dictating the content of the show.
Oh
Whereas
yeah.
I'm playing a live show, I have a set list and I'm controlling it because I know I have 45 minutes and that's it. I
Hmm.
mean, if it's a Saturday afternoon at 1 o'clock, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna have my buddy over, bring his piano, and we're just gonna hop on Twitch and jam for a couple hours and see what happens. It's a different experience, but it's been great, man. I That's what I've been doing, and I haven't been doing a ton of them because I've been injured. Just because I've been laying off the guitar a little bit. I went really hard before I went in the studio to get ready, and I recorded a couple tracks, and I've needed some physical therapy for a couple years probably now, and I'm finally getting caught up with that. So I'm taking a couple weeks off from playing so I can get everything right so I can kick ass when I'm back out.
I bet you will be, because the music that I found, like when I found you on Twitter and we started talking, I had to look this up because I was like, all right, there's a lot of people that hit people up with music, right? And when you look up their music, it's not very professional. It's not very popping. You know, everyone starts somewhere, of course. So,
Yeah.
and I respect the grind for everyone. So, but when I found you, the presentation was light years ahead of the crowd. And that's one of the things that connected me with you, because music for me is a passion. I don't do music myself, but music puts me in a place where I can be, you know, away from the world. And when I listen to your music, I actually put your music on my playlist when I hit the gym and stuff. So, and I feel like I was able to relate to your music. So, what kind of musician? What my question is, what kind of musician are you? Are you a storyteller, or do you write your music from your past?
Um, I I really feel, and I was talking to Christian about this on Saturday. Like I was shocked how candid that conversation became. But I feel like my music kind of encapsulates where I'm at that time. Um, you know, as far as the professionalism of the recordings and all that, I'm definitely always trying to improve that, working on my chops, working on my skills, working on developing a new range, working on things to make things more dynamic. You know, the things that as a meticulous person, as a meticulous musician that wants to grow, I'm always doing those things. But for the most part, the material itself of what the songs are about are basically kind of stories. There might be some metaphor, but a lot of it is inspired by what I'm feeling, what I'm going through at the time. And it kind of allows me to explore some parts of my psyche that I might not explore otherwise just in day-to-day conversation. It kind of lets me go to fantasy world. And if I want to take this emotion to an extreme level, I can do that in a song. You know, it might be putting somebody's head through a fucking wall in real life, but you know, you get that catharsis from doing it, and I've really got that, and I kind of went through a dark time, and I worked through it, and I'm feeling like way more optimistic. But yeah, it's mostly, I feel like, just a snapshot of where I'm at in life. You know, if I had to do the too long didn't read version of it, I would just say it's a snapshot.
Yeah, so a self-expression for the moment.
Yeah.
So you briefly keep talking about this the darkness that you went through. Are you saying that music is the thing that saved you from it all?
I would say so, definitely. I mean, I've been in and out of bands for 20 years. I started when I was 19. I'm 39 years old now. I've seen a lot of stuff. I've got some friends that have made it pretty far. I got some friends that are still probably going to make it pretty far. I have some friends that are making it pretty far right now. So the whole perspective of everything has changed for me. I think it's now for me, it's about growing and becoming a great artist and putting out stuff that I can be proud of. And once it's out there in the world, I'm not gonna fucking worry about it anymore. You know, creating and feeling this pressure that I have to deliver something for a certain somebody, or I don't know. I guess I've just changed and matured a little bit and kind of realized what it is for me at the level that I'm at. And I just, it's going to make me happy or I'm not going to do it. So I'm going to do it my way for once. You know, I'm going to be selfish. I'm going to make sure that the work that I put in benefits me. And I'm going to apply all the things that I've learned from the mistakes that I've made and seen friends make and all that to this, and do it as genuinely as possible, and that's it. The cards kind of fall where they may. That's pretty much my philosophy at this point.
Oh, for sure. I mean, if you pour your passion and heart and desire into it, the other person, the other guy on the other side is going to believe that. Whatever you believe, 110%, the listener, the follower, the subscriber will believe the same thing. It's all about being relatable. The creator believes in his content, and the viewer will believe in the content as well. It's all cohesive, man. And with the music that I listened to from you, it was very relatable to me. And I saw a song, even a music video that you made for an MMA fighter,
Yes,
and
yeah.
his story mixed with your song that hit me. That hit me real good, man.
Well, I had a I it was strange. The team that I worked with for the video was called Shattered Glass Films. They're out of Wichita, Kansas. They're friends of mine. They're in bands around town and stuff like that. They're just kick-ass people and super creative, talented people. And I had done a couple videos with them before, and I was listening to the song and I was just thinking about it, and I'm like, you guys listen to this song, do you guys hear something? And they're like, do you know someone that's like really face some serious adversity that you know, can you think of it? And I was like, first thing I thought of was Cody. And I hit him up to do it, and he's like, yeah, man, I'm all about it, because I haven't always been comfortable telling my story, and I feel like this might be a way for me to tell my side of the story and this and that. Because you know, when things like that happen, there's always sides of the story that are ugly, and it's just, you see that as you get older, you start to see that there's always a different side and a different perspective, and you might not judge as quickly. But I think it gave me a chance to get a song out there with an amazing story at the same time. And we premiered that video at an MMA fight, before Cody's fights, at the Evolution Fighting Championships. So David the Caveman Rickles, who's a fighter, and he's in bare knuckle now, has a promotion in our area, and Cody was fighting on the card. So we debuted the video before Cody walked out to fight. And it was just this really surreal experience for me, like as a fan of the sport, and as a fan, and that's like my coach and a dude that I'm close with and a guy I've been training with, to put that art together and then have that moment. It was pretty amazing, man. The story just came together almost like there was like no effort. We started talking and it was like it just happened, and it kind of went in that, and it happened the way it happened. So yeah, it was a really cool story.
Yeah, you can definitely tell that you believed in what you were singing in the music video. And that was so great. In the interview, it honestly felt like a UFC promo. Like, you did so well with the video, and even the MMA fighter did so well. It almost looked like it was about to be a UFC fight.
Yeah, well, there were certain things, and there's a guy in town who's a film creator who just started a Twitch channel named Lester Rowe. He filmed a lot of that fight footage, and so the team that I worked with knew Lester, and they're like, "Do you have any fight footage?" And Cody's like, "Yo, Lester's got it," and they're like, "Lester Rowe," and they knew each other. And it was like boom, and Lester's like, "Oh, I'm happy to." So I credit Lester with some of the fight footage in the film, in the video. But we went through the video footage too, me and Cody, as guys that train. There was a couple things during the fight footage that a fighter normally wouldn't want to have out there, like a low blow in one of the highlights. So like, and you're like, that can't be in the music video. The accidental low blow, we can't have that in there. That's not great for the, that's not great for the
No,
story.
it would have been funny if it was like an upbeat song. Then it would have been hilarious.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But other than that, and the strangest thing to me was that the folks that put the video together had no, I don't think, any preconceived notion of what a something like that should look like, because none of them are fans of the fights or anything like that. I don't think any of them watch any of that stuff. And I think it was a way for them to see that world a little differently and all that. But it did ended up turning out like I was watching it and I was like, I feel so terrible, but it's such a redemption story. You know? Yeah, and it pulled at my heartstrings, and I don't know, man. I guess it's something's happening as I'm getting older, and as I've had kids, I'm just getting a lot more sentimental, and as I've lost people and things like that, I'm starting to appreciate the moments a little more. And I think that's starting to happen with like, I want to put stuff out there that I'm putting my heart into like that, and I don't care what happens with it. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, I want to do is set myself up for success as much as I possibly can. But I'm in a great place in my life. I'm happy. And I honestly feel like that just gives me leverage. Like, I'm happy doing what I'm doing. I'll be happy trying something else. I'll be happy doing it. But it has to make sense and it has to contribute to the values that I have now. And I'm not chasing this like I think I used to chase this like imaginary dream.
Hmm.
Like you're gonna get flown out to New York City, and a record label is gonna give you hundreds of millions of dollars and make you this huge star because your songs are the best. And it's like you get
It
out,
almost sounds like Bill and Ted.
yeah, and it pretty much, and but then you get out there in the world and you're like, oh, that guy I just played with, his fucking songs are amazing too, and he's a better guitar player than me, and then you get out there and you get that experience and it starts to give you some more perspective, like to understand what it really does take to ascend, whether you're an independent artist or whatever, even to get to a point to where I'm at, where you're at a level where you're happy with yourself and you're happy with
Hmm.
what you're knowing. You have a lot of room to grow and a lot of things you need to work on, because there's a lot of things I am not great at and I need to execute a lot better and put more time and effort into. But like, I feel like the work I'm putting in is coming back to me in some way now. I don't know. I feel like if I'm putting good energy in the world, I'm going to get good energy back. And if I just keep doing that, only good things are going to happen. Connections like this happen.
Oh yeah, for sure. And one of the things I live by is I like dream it, believe it, achieve it.
Hmm.
Anything you can manifest in your own heart and soul, it can come true. And thing is, it's like chasing isn't a terrible thing as long as you know if it's the long game, short game, whatever. It's the execution in the middle game. And once you can establish that, then it's, dude, the world is yours.
I think a lot of it has to do with, I think a lot of it has to do with consistency. I think a lot of it has to do with doing it when you don't want to do it. I think a lot of it has to do with taking some gigs that you didn't want to take. I think a lot of it has to do with, sitting down and learning that graphic design shit that you didn't want to learn,
Oh, tell me
but you
about it.
but you know you need to learn it. Learning how to broadcast, knowing that that's a platform you should be taking advantage of and not doing it, and realizing that you have to do it. It comes with action. And I think a lot of people that don't understand the action part of it sit around and wait for things to fall in their lap. And I think that's why they're bitter. I think a lot of people get bitter waiting for things to come to them. And I honestly don't think in the game that we're in, at the level that we're at, that anything's going to fall in your lap whatsoever. And you better go out and get that shit. And when you wake up in the morning, you better be running.
Oh yeah.
That's my philosophy. I try not to wear myself out, but I do wear myself out because I love it. So, I mean, if that's bad, I don't
Oh
know.
no, man. And like a lot of the things that people say, I follow a lot of inspirational speakers, a lot of motivational speakers, and they always talk about, man, like, man, if you ain't grinding, and because you're supposed to love the grind, man. You're supposed to get up in the morning and go, this is what I want. And the thing is, it's like you don't have to kill yourself. You don't have to break your back. But as long as you put forth that one step every day, don't matter 5 years, 10 years, 2 months, you will get to your destination. If you hold the keys to that car and you got the gas in it, you're going to get there.
Yeah. It feels that way. I mean, it's chopping wood, man. It's fucking waking up in the morning, sharpening your axe and chopping wood. And some days it's great, and some days it sucks, and some days you don't want to do it, and some days something bad happens, but you have something and you have to decide, you know, am I going to drive 3 hours and play this show and be alone in isolation after the show and stay in a shitty motel and crap in a truck stop in the morning and go home? Or do I just want to cancel this show and mail it in? It's like, who are you? You know, what type of artist are you? How much do you care? You know, when you were fucking sending 700 emails out this summer to book all them shows, I do it all myself. You know, when you're sending those emails out and you were putting in that grind and the sting that you felt when you finally landed a show in that city that you never played in before, are you going to cancel that one? Some people, yes. The answer for them is a resounding yes. And for me, it's like, it's gonna suck. I pull myself up. I'm like, just keep going. You know, I honestly believe that's what it is: consistency and just like fucking chopping wood, man.
It is. If you think of it like a farmer, bro, like if a farmer doesn't plant seeds or have animals, how's he going to eat? How's he going to feed his family? And that goes with us. If we can just plant a seed, eat a single seed a day, we'll have crop.
Yeah. It's sometimes, some days I have to have somebody in my life tell me that. Some days my wife has to be like, you are so ungrateful to yourself for what you've accomplished. She's like, I'm looking at your Spotify right now and you have this. And I'm like, that is so minuscule. That means nothing to me. Like, that is so far off from where I want to be. And it's not a numbers standpoint. It's a enlightenment stand. It's so weird for me to be saying that because like 10 years ago, I would have never said something, but it's like, I just want to keep going, and I just want to keep doing it and keep meeting cool people and seeing cool stuff and doing cool things and being proud of what I'm putting out there and being cool with people that don't like it and be happy in life because man, tomorrow it can be taken from you like that. And I don't want to go to my grave with a bunch of resentment and shit about things that I didn't do and chances I didn't take. I'm done with that. So that's kind of where I'm at now.
I feel the same way. I mean, you only live one life. Why not do everything you set yourself up to do? So
yeah.
And you mentioned Spotify, and I saw a few of your posts. We got some listeners in. So how about you tell them how your Spotify's looking?
My Spotify is pretty good, man. I think I'm over 110,000 streams. Up from here is over 62,000 now. That's a song I put out this year at the very beginning of the year, and I planned to travel on that song for a few months because I thought it was a really strong song. I'm like, and this is one of the most uplifting, positive songs I've written so far. It's got a little bit more of a happy hook and it kind of makes people feel more optimistic, you know, as opposed to the doom and gloom that I wrote on the Trapped Here stuff. But that song took off. I had a bunch of stuff getting playlisted and I had some weird things happen where people from overseas were emailing me about licensing and stuff like that. I signed a licensing deal.
That's what's up.
And then they took it right out from under me, just like embarrassed me, made me do all the work to set everything up and submit everything. And then and I've never named that company and I never will because that's not what I do, but I got treated like absolute shit by them. And I was like, this just reminds me of why I'm doing shit independently. You know, fuck all that. I'm not going to let people treat me that way. My time is worth just as much as theirs is. And then I took time away from spending time with my sons to submit that shit. And then you do that to me. But Up From Here presented those kind of opportunities, and those were the types of things that I wasn't used to, I guess, because I would see my songs just toil off in Spotify Neverland and get 5 streams a day. Oh, yeah. Just like every other artist, everybody's been there. If you've started out and I don't know if people that don't make music understand how important it is, like when artists are sharing their Spotify stats. It's like that means some shit to them. Those are like people that they would have never otherwise gotten to listen to their music. Like someone in Russia jammed my shit today. I got one spin today, but he was in Russia. Like, like those are cool accomplishments for people that aren't. Because I mean, I think I looked at what my royalty checks are looking like right now from Spotify from the increased numbers, and I think they owe me like $20.74. Do you know
Oh,
how much work it took to get to to that level?
yeah.
But I don't look. I'm not like a lot of artists either. I don't look at Spotify as the revenue generator. I think Spotify is more like the business card. I think you got to get your music in someone's Spotify to give them a chance to hear your shit so they can come to your show. And then when they come to the show, then you have the opportunity to really sell them and make them a fan. I mean that's how I look at it, and it helps me swallow that bitter pill that is streaming royalties because it's the biggest horse shit on the planet, but it is what it is. It's the world we live in. You can like it or hate it, but you better, if you're an artist, you better adapt to it. That's all there is to it.
I agree. Just a thing I looked into today, actually yesterday. Have you looked into starting a Patreon?
I did just start one on Friday, with very, very lukewarm response from my following. I'm not sure what that is. I don't know if the podcasting has made me more accessible or something like that, but I personally kind of want that. I feel like I was very markety and robot-y with links on my social media before this, and it made me look at things in a different way. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's all about presenting. People want to hear the artist's backstory. So
Yeah,
the music, you already got the music, dude. Your music's already A1. It's 10. I'm very impressed. I've been around music. I mean, my dad was in bands. I've been around music forever. I just have no
thank
music
you.
talent. But you impressed me day one. Your song went on my playlist before we even talked. You're in my
I
Spotify,
appreciate it.
YouTube. I showed you to my friends, man. Like, I really appreciate how you present yourself in music and how you present yourself as a person. And it's amazing, man. And I appreciate the work that you're doing.
It means a lot to me to hear that, because sometimes you don't. Sometimes you're here and like I flip my computer on, do my thing, and I kind of feel like it's a concert, so I kind of have to be this thing, and then I have to turn it off, and I go back upstairs, and I'm back to my normal life, and sometimes I feel like I'm just toiling off in nowhere land, where I'm just off in space, and everything I'm doing is a waste of time, and nobody cares, and this and that. It's so easy as an artist at this level to get discouraged like that, because you don't always get that gratification.
Yeah, I feel you.
You might be like, this is the best shit I've ever done, and like I put so much into this. People don't understand how bad I want this to fucking succeed. And then it goes out there and it's like, eh, one like.
All it takes
If
is
you want people
one
to see
person,
this,
though. It only takes one person.
I'm telling you, I'm here. I mean, like, this last week, and this is the fourth podcast I've done in 4 days. I'm 4 days in a row, and I'm meeting all these crazy people and and it's just, I love it. It's so much fun, and it's so. I think if I continue to put out the stuff at the quality that I've put it out, I'll be disappointed in myself. I want to put out something better. And
Yeah.
if I continue to do that, I feel like I'm going to continue to meet cool people, and I'm at peace with that, if that's what it is, and we'll just see where it goes.
Yeah. Next question, man, is where do you see yourself 5 years from now?
Mm. I'll probably be way better at live streaming. 5 years from now, I will be 44 years old.
Hey, that's still young, man. Randy Couture five when he was old. We
I
got
don't I don't feel old at all, man. I feel young. I feel virile. The biggest thing for me is right now I'm nursing an injury. I've got a neck issue from years of playing football and jiu-jitsu and all that. So I'm paying for my history. If I had a chance to take it all back, I wouldn't. I would do it all the same, harder probably, knowing what I know now. So I'm going through that, but like I don't. I'm just. I don't. I'm just as happy as I've been in a long time, and it kind of feels good to be able to say that.
Oh yeah. You said football and fighting. So have you competed in both those, like all the way through high school, college? Tell me your story in sports.
I played football from the time I was 12 years old. I played one semester of college football, and I played NAIA. I was not a Division One athlete or anything like that. I wasn't fast enough. I thought I was. I thought I was a beast back then, but then I got to college and realized how things were, and realized that the politics is way higher, and we realizing that the damage I would take is way higher, and everybody there can hit, and everybody there can run. And I didn't like the school I played at. I didn't like the coaches I played for, and I was like, I'm not going to spend the next 5 years doing this shit. No way. So that was it for me in football. Then I had about a 6 or 7 year hiatus from sports, and I got into jujitsu because I kind of needed to get my act together. I wasn't taking very good care of myself, in any way, shape, or form. And then I was watching the fights and stuff like that, and I was inspired to try jujitsu, and the rest is history. 10 years later, here I am, brown belt in jujitsu, and on the sidelines with an injury, but I plan to be back. And I hope 5 years from now that I'm going to have my black belt in jiu-jitsu. That's one thing. Another thing is I hope I can continue to support my art and my podcasting now, um, not out of pocket. It would be nice to get to where it at least pays for itself and I could put on the type of production that I wanted to put on. If that's where I am in 5 years, I want to be a good dad. That's number one. I want to be a good husband. That's a given, I would hope, for any married man and father. Those are the most important things in the world to me. So if you told me in 5 years I had my black belt, I was a shitty black belt. If you told me that I was still making music and still meeting cool people and my kids were healthy and my wife was happy, that would be perfect for me 5 years out. That's all I need, man.
Yeah, and that's so relatable to me because it's the whole work-life balance is
Yes.
very hard. You just met my baby before we turned this on. It's really hard to balance everything because I got the day job, I got the stream, I got the podcast, promoting, networking. I have a meeting on Wednesday in Arlington. Just everything makes it so hard. So, what everything that you're going through, what kind of advice would you give to someone like me or anybody else there out there that's struggling to get the views, to get everything going, to be and to get the whole balance ready? Like, how can you? What kind of advice would you give them?
My biggest advice, I think 9 months ago, I would have told you make sure everything is pristine and perfect before you present it to anyone. I think that would have probably been my approach. And I think now, I think I'm learning faster and growing faster. And the more I am just being myself. Believe in yourself, do it for the right reasons, and keep fucking going and going. And when you have one viewer, keep going. And when you have one viewer, keep going and act like you have 1,000. It's like we driving to I remember a show I drove to Norman, Oklahoma on a Sunday night, and there was no one. I played to the bartender and the sound guy, and I was going through some stuff with my wife, and and I came home. She's like, "How was it?" I was like, "It's not good at all." Oh, so and it was bad, and it was my bad, and I was like, "This is horrible." But you know what I did Monday? I started booking more shows. In a way, you have to be a glutton for punishment, because if you're not consistent and you don't stick with it, you're not going to build the numbers, and the numbers will come. And the numbers are not anywhere near what I want to do, but I think the more the numbers become less important to you, the more your numbers will come. I'm
Yeah,
starting to feel that way. Like, just be yourself. Don't worry about what other people are doing. If you have something that you can feel good about and put your best shot of yourself at it, that's what you should do. I think you should follow your heart and put your heart into it and act like you're streaming to 1 million people. I mean, that would be my best. Act like that recording is going out to fucking record labels and radio stations all over the world. Release that shit like it's the biggest thing you can. I mean, it's your baby. Send it out into the world, and put your effort into it, and promote it and support it and grow it and feed it and nurture
there
it.
you go.
I mean that you have to, and it's just just fucking go for it. That's my best advice, man.
Yeah, that is solid because like the whole thing is going for it. People, we especially me and you, we have a family, jobs, music to streaming to everything that we're doing. And like sometimes, like you can even ask my wife that I only get like 3 hours of sleep. I get 3 hours of
Oh
sleep
yeah.
at night because I'm either editing, I'm trying to figure out what the next thing to do, test out this, test out podcast. Because my podcast, I designed my podcast around it's not gaming, it's not this, it's not that. It is all shapes of form entertainment. I'm like, dude, in a few weeks, I might be interviewing a World War II veteran that is an airborne.
Sweet.
He's still alive, still kicking, he's still teaching. So I figure I might be interviewing him. There's a special forces guy that I'm interviewing next month, and I'm just lining up all these wonderful, inspiring people because it's about changing what's wrong right now. And even if it's not wrong, we're trying to inspire the young that anything is possible, even when there's a pandemic, even when there's unrest. We can move forward and grow ourselves, our soul, our heart, our happiness, and our money. And people are like,
I
people are like, money don't buy happiness. It doesn't. But if I'm eating and my family's taken care of, then I'm happy.
Yeah, that definitely. I mean, at the end of the day, I know that I'm taking care of that, because if I wasn't taking care of that, I wouldn't be sitting here.
Yeah.
The work that I've put in over the course of my career and in my business, and I'm not going to get into that at all, really. I'm in sales, I'll just tell you that. But like, I've got a career, I've got a long career. I've worked my ass off. I've done well. Not as well as I would like. Obviously, everybody always feels like they can do more, but I'm thankful that I have a job that has paid me through this whole situation that we've been going through, as I'm an essential worker or whatever.
Yeah.
Which I don't know who's deciding who is essential and who isn't, and what business is and isn't, but that's a whole topic we could go off on a complete tangent on. But like, I'm putting food on the table, and my baby's mouths are fed, and everybody's happy at home. So I can do this. If I wasn't taking care of that, I wouldn't be here. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be picking up my guitar. I wouldn't be sitting down on my computer. I wouldn't be doing promo. I'd be figuring out the next hustle to put another meal on the table, whatever it fucking takes.
Exactly. That's what it takes to be a warrior for your family and not only for yourself.
Yep.
And the world lacks a lot of warrior mentality. And have you ever heard of a guy named Stefan Arnio?
I have not.
Look up his book. He's got a podcast as well. But the whole fact that is that his book is, it's like bad times create strong men. And other than that, I can switch it up. I can be like, bad times can create strong people. Because it's like, if you can make it through adversity, there's nothing that can stop you.
Yes.
And my whole thing is like you, I've been through a rough patch. I've been through a rough past growing up. And my thing is how many lives can I touch? How many lives can I touch? Not only my family, I got to take care of my family and show my kids that I can help change the world. I can change, if I could change one life, and that one life changes another 3 lives, then my essence, what makes me has changed all these people or helped. Like I influenced. And that's what I have to get people like you. I have to get people like you on my podcast. I got Daddy Dawson on my first episode, and then I got Street Talk, and these people are making such big waves. And I'll like study you. I'll watch you, and your music it made me feel so. And when you said you're gonna jump on this podcast, man, and it probably the most excitement I've had in a long time.
Well, dude, like I don't ever feel like it's a levels thing, like I don't ever feel like I'm above or below. And to me, I don't feel like I've done anything. I mean, I feel like I'm another person that's out there trying to make the best of my situation, and I respect people out there that are doing the same.
Yeah.
And that's really all it is for me. The second we started talking, it was genuine. You seemed like you wanted to hustle, and it seemed like the hustle can be reciprocated. That's where a lot of people that I get involved with turn me off a little bit sometimes, where I don't feel like they are willing to do the hustle themselves. I feel like they're just trying to get me to give them something to take a shortcut.
Yeah.
And it's like, I feel like you're trying to get me to give you something so you can compete against me. You know, I feel like it's almost this, but the fact of the matter is, you're not going to be able to if you don't gain that experience. You can't compete against me if you haven't experienced the things that I've experienced, and knowing what to take and what not to take, what to say no to, what to say yes to. So I network with a ton of other artists, whether it's gamers, you know, painters, fighters, musicians, studio people, streamers, you know, production people. I try to stay involved with people that are doing, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because I feel like we're all doing, and we're doing it together. So it's like, you asked me to come on, it's like, fuck yeah, I'm humbled and honored, dude. I'd love to. Let's go.
Hell yeah.
You know, we've been talking online and stuff, and it's like, this is a cool experience for me. It's a cool experience for you. And I think anyone that's tuning in or listening is like, you know, me and you have never talked to each other face to face ever.
Yeah.
I mean, and now, you know, now if you come up here, let me know when you're in town, and I'll buy you a beer. You know,
Man,
it's like,
same to
you know,
you.
it's happening, you know? So
Yeah.
like, I don't ever look at things that way, I guess. I try to stay as humble as possible. If anything, jujitsu teaches you to be humble.
This is also true, because the reason why I say it's like everyone's got a story, and I tell people, like, I'm an assistant manager at a facility, and it's like I tell people everyone's story can help someone, and when it comes to the storytelling of one's life, it will help one to learn something. Like how you just briefly said what you said, I can learn a lot from you, what the yeses
Vice
and
versa.
nos, and yeah, and that's the best part is no human will succeed alone. We're here as tribal people. We're all brothers and sisters after one goal: take care of ourselves, take care of our family, and put food on the table. And with the friends and brothers and sisters that we make on the way, we're all one family. So I appreciate the word that you have and that you spread about your mentality on everything. And I completely agree with it all. And that's what shows through your music.
I hope so. I really hope, because like, I get a lot of shit. If you're not following me on Facebook or whatever, like, if you're on Facebook, we need to become personal friends, because I get some pretty nasty memes sent my way about my music. I have some friends that make memes and like kind of making fun of me, and they're talking about like how dark all the songs are and stuff like that. And they'll be like, yeah, you can listen to this, but then you're gonna kill yourself or whatever. And like, I've never put these songs out there with the intention of them being like dark or depressing. I've always kind of looked at it as, if somebody that's going through those same emotions as me listen to this, are they going to realize that maybe they're not alone?
Yeah, exactly. That's it.
Because I've felt very isolated at times in my life and stuff that's happened, and I think that isolation really messes with a person's mind. And some of this stuff is stuff that I write like when I'm going through like the deepest isolation that I've ever. So it's like, of course those songs are going to be dark, but it's like, I think at the time I just needed to talk to somebody, but I was too macho to talk to somebody, so I was writing songs instead. And now, and I'm saying this, but the next song that I'm going to release is like the most depressing song I've ever written. But I don't know. I've always kind of been on the dark side of stuff anyway. I've always been a metal guy, and I've always liked the grunge era. I've always liked that type of music. So I've always been on the darker side of things. But to hear that to hear that it connects with one person and maybe helps them not feel so alone or something, that's all I need. You know, that's it. It lets me know I'm doing what I should be doing, and it makes me happy to hear that. So that's all I can say about it.
Yeah, I know for a fact that half the viewers that are watching now, I have showed your music. And I'll tell you right now, they can't say it with their words and voice right now, but I can tell you right now that we do love and respect what you have put out there.
That's awesome, man.
It's relatable, and a group of us have talked about it. And like, there's not a single day, and not to put this out, not to toot your horn, not to grab your chain, but I have listened to your songs at least once a day. Like, it's on my playlist. And the thing is, it's like all of us, especially me and a buddy of mine, we grew up together. He's in my streams every night. Every time I stream, he's there, and we've banded together through it all. And your music is very, it's the chain that holds our stories together, and it's very relatable. So don't let any hater. Bad exposure is good exposure. If your name's out there, meme or not, it's out there.
Oh yeah, I it's all tongue in cheek because they're all people I'm friends with mostly. Because people that I'm not friends with, like, I don't give a fuck what they have to say about me. Like, I don't care. Like, if you're coming in my Facebook comments and talking shit, I'm like, thanks for running up the algorithm. That's what I'm
Exactly.
thinking. I'm not even
Yeah.
taking what you're saying to heart. I'm like, you suck, bro. I'm like, sweet, get the comments going on there. And he gets them going, and then all of a sudden that post is getting seen by more people. I'm like, you're helping me right now, asshole. Thank you. You're eating your own shit right now. You know, you're like,
Exactly.
I'm cool with that. But my buddies make some memes that are like, they're pretty low and cheap shoddy, and so I always share them on Facebook. I'm like, my friends are dicks, and it's like this thing that I've got going, and every day people are like, you got any more of those memes? I'm like, you don't have any idea how many memes these dudes have sent me over the last like 3 months, just abusing me.
Hey, sometimes they're good friends because that's in a way pushing you, because it's
Yeah,
like not only they're getting your name out in a funny contextual way, but your name's also out there. But also you'd be like, all right, bet my next song, I'll show you, man.
yeah. I've got one, man. I've got one. The next one I'm gonna put out, I've already kind of decided it's gonna be a painful one. It's just one that I need to get behind me in a way. People are like, why are you releasing that one? I'm like, I just need to get this one out of my system. This one was one that I wrote, probably at rock bottom, and it's there and it's existed and it's been played live and it has to be recorded, and I did it. But the next one is like a love song that I wrote for my wife, and I think a lot of my fans are probably gonna abandon me when I put that song out. What is this shit? This guy's talking about how happy he is. This isn't what I wanted to turn this on for.
But hey, man, if Creed can do it, you can do it.
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, it's sometimes it's pretty hard to sit down and write like a really depressing song when you're feeling pretty happy. Like, you're like, overall, I've been doing the work. I've had some therapy. Things are I'm kind of turning shit around. I'm waking up in the morning feeling a little more optimistic. I'm not depressed. Um, it's a little bit harder to sit down and just write a heartbreaker, because you're
Uh,
like, I just want to write something happy.
I know, I
It's
can see you at the concert right now, like jamming to that sad song with a huge smile on your face.
like, yeah,
It'll cause a massive whiplash. It's like, I'm confused. I don't know if I'm supposed to feel this or smile or
it
both.
happens. It happens. I mean, there's sometimes where we'll be playing shows and like I'll just lose it. I'll be like, and I was like, at that time especially, I was shoving it down. I was hiding it. I was trying to push it down. I wasn't acknowledging it. I was just biting down on my mouthpiece, walking forward, knowing that I had changes that I needed to make. And I think people around me could see it too. But I'd be playing a show and I'd be like, this next song, like just tears in my eyes, and like I'd be playing and singing a chorus and just pouring tears or whatever, and I'd have to stop, and it's like, it's clearly you've got something going on, bro. You're a little more emotional than you probably should be.
Oh
So
man, I love it.
I've been both, and then you go up there sometimes and you're playing and like you're so elated that things are just going well, and that's where you are. And you're like, I'm playing a fucking concert in a bar 4 hours away from where I live. Who would have told me that, 2 years ago, even, or 3 years ago, that I'd even be doing that when my sons were born or whatever. So it's everything for me these days, like with music and the podcasting and everything, just feels like icing on the cake now. And I'm like, I feel a lot more grateful these days. And I guess I don't know to attribute that to, man. Maybe just doing the work myself and doing the self work to find the happiness, I guess.
Nice. Besides your music and family and jiu-jitsu, what else helps you? What is your other hobby? Have you competed in fighting? Like, I know me and you've talked, and you watch boxing, you watch MMA. I've seen you post about it. What is something that excites you right now?
I swear to God, that's funny that you touch on that, but I love the UFC. The product that they've been putting out during the pandemic has been absolutely fabulous. There's been a ton of fights, ton of awesome fights. They did some of the Contender Series during the season. I think they've developed a lot of stars, and they've developed a lot of up and comers, and they're starting to weed out some of the old guard and stuff like that. And I think it's just become hyper competitive because that sport has been the most active. And
Oh
you have all
yeah.
these you have these younger athletes going, okay, well, what's on TV? Can't watch this, can't watch that, can't watch this. And then if you do watch that, you got to watch politics and you got to watch this and that and you got to do this bullshit. You turn the UFC on, you're going to watch fights.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's why people turn it on. And then you start to develop these kids and these up and coming stars, and the way that they've cultivated that sport and the way that they've changed the perspective from like this barbaric sport to this highly tactical, like laser guided focus, just clashing. And it's just, I feel like the product's never been better, man. I'm you can tell I'm stoked about it. I'm excited right now just talking about it. I love watching the fights.
Yeah, I've been part of the MMA scene since I can freaking remember. Like my dad did the training instructor's course at Team Quest with Randy Couture, Matt Lindland, Chris Lieben. Chris Lieben was my coach. I was part of that whole
Nice.
entire group. And yeah, Randy Couture broke my dad's ribs one time. So
I bet he did.
yeah, man, it was crazy. He picked him up and slammed him on the ground, man. And I'm
When
6'7", and I'm 6'7". So Chris Lieben would jump on my back and act like he's trying to choke out the giant during practice.
You're 6'7"?
Yes, sir.
Oh man, you're the same height as Sprout. I'm 6'2". So I would feel like a dwarf in your presence. That's good. I like walking around. Like I walk around with Sprout, and I kind of feel like what it feels like to be a short guy. I'm
I
like,
know.
haha, if they're gonna jump us, they're gonna get him first now. Usually when I'm the tallest guy, they're gonna come after me first.
Oh man, that's true. Hey, tall people command a lot of presence.
It's true. Do you still train?
I'm actually getting back into. I want to get back into competing in boxing. So, boxing is kind of where my heart is. But MMA, I've been a part of it forever. I was division champion in submission wrestling. I've done Greco-Roman wrestling, Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai. But just once, I used to travel around for boxing. I lived in Oklahoma for a little while when I was boxing, and I had a buddy that sponsored me. He was in the military, so at that time he sponsored me to do boxing full time. And I was training with a champion, and it was just an experience that I loved. And I told myself, like, if anybody's going to sacrifice their health, this is what kept me going at it. If anybody's going to sacrifice their health for their family and people around them, it's going to be me. It'd rather be me than them. So here I go,
Right.
doing it all. So that's
So you're
what
gonna
drove
get
me.
back into it and competing again. How
Yes,
old of a
sir.
guy are you? Can I ask?
Yeah, I'm 31. I ain't afraid of my age.
Oh
And
shit,
like,
you're 31. I'm 39. You talk about starting a boxing career at my age, it's a different story.
hey,
You're riding the prime, baby. It's time to go.
hey,
I'll
bro,
be I'll be rooting for your ass.
I appreciate it. Being an influencer, though, because I can call you an influencer now since you're on the whole interwebs thing.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Yeah, man. Look at all these influencers fighting. You got Jake Paul. You got Logan Paul fighting Mayweather, which is insane.
I hate it. I absolutely hate it. It's to me it's an absolute fucking black eye that these pro MMA fighters. I understand why. I understand the business and the money part of it, but the money Mayweather shit, I mean, get the fuck out of here with that. I'm not into that. I want to see the best guys fight the best guys. I don't want to see some YouTuber because he has 3 million followers on Twitter fight fucking Conor McGregor in an exhibition match. I'm not interested in it. I'll never pay for it. The Floyd Mayweather Conor McGregor fight was the last one of those I will ever pay for. And I don't like that. But if you're asking me if I ever would fight, I definitely would. I was definitely considering it actually before I got injured. I kind of felt like my striking was getting to a point where it was coming together with my grappling a little more. And I thought I had my diet right. I was feeling pretty good. I was like, I could probably cut to 185 even at my age. And as an amateur, I could probably give somebody a pretty fucking bad night on the right night, right matchup, whatever. So I thought about it. You know, I was like, it'd be cool. It's an experience I've always wanted. But now, a neck injury. You know, I'm 9 weeks into a neck injury now, and it's kind of got me rethinking that idea. I was
Yeah.
thinking that because I was feeling so good. It wasn't because I wanted to hurt somebody or I wanted to show off or anything like that. It was because I truly just wanted the martial arts experience. I wanted a chance to apply it in a fucking pressure cooker and see what I was capable of. You've been doing it for 10 years, you want to find out, you know? And I haven't competed in jiu-jitsu since I was a blue belt just because of family. You know,
Yeah.
I've got twin 4-year-olds that spent 7 weeks in the NICU, and you know, that complicates your competitive jiu-jitsu schedule a little bit.
Oh, for sure.
But yeah, I was thinking about it, but now I'm really just focusing on trying to get healthy and trying to get back to training.
Oh,
So I
yeah.
don't know. I may compete in jiu-jitsu again. I may get the itch to fight. I have no clue. I don't think I'm too old.
Oh, hell no.
I'm injured. I need to get healthy before I would even think about something like that.
Hey,
again.
man, once you're healed up and ready to roll, man, if you're ever in the Dallas Fort Worth area, man, 6'7", 6'2", hey, we're kind of the same height. We could roll, man.
I'm down. I'm down, definitely. We got the gym I train at, I'm like one of the small guys, and I'm like 6'2", 205. But I'm one of the smaller guys in my gym. There's some big dudes, man. We have some 300 pounders. We have some real tall guys like you, and
I need some tall guys, man.
you'd be welcome up here if you're ever rolling through Wichita, man. There's all I got a place for you to train with all the giants.
Yeah, because when I used to train MMA, everyone was short. Like, it's
Yeah.
hard to find someone my height. So in order to take someone down in MMA, I'd have to go down to their level. So it's really hard. I usually let them take me down, and I practice on my back. So if you can command the fight on your back, then you can win the fight. But
Yeah, even at my height, sometimes if I'm going against a dude that's 5'11" that can wrestle a little bit, the only way I'm getting him down is a clinch and a trip or something.
oh yeah, yeah.
It's very hard for me to get like a single or a double on anybody with any wrestling background that's shorter than me, because I'm just a little too slow. I think that's always been my problem, though. I've always just been a little too slow.
Yeah. Well, now my whole mindset changed. If I can punch them across the ring, they ain't gonna tackle me.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about it. At 6'7", man, I'd just be worried about footwork and throwing long, straight shots. You don't have to worry about any of that ground shit if you can get that
Oh,
down.
for real. I'll be sending you some footage, man.
Do it. Please do. I would love to.
All right.
I'd love
Well,
to see it.
we got about 5 more minutes. I want you to be able to tell every viewer in here right now everything that you're doing when it comes to the podcast. Kind of just sell yourself. Let them know what they can go to and where to find you.
First and foremost, I'm a musician. I have music out on Spotify. You can find me. It's Dusty Grant, DUSTYGRANT. All the social media, you can find me at Dusty Grant 57. I've got my own website, dustygrant.com. On the music side, I've got 2 new singles recorded. They're off in mastering right now. I'm figuring out what to do with video and all that, but I know the release order. I'm working on the artwork as we speak, so I'll have new singles out in 2021 for sure. Probably be booking some shows. Aside from that, I do a lot of live streaming on Twitch. I've got a podcast called DG and Friends. I have some guests come on. Sometimes it's just like a candid chat. Other times it's more of an interview format. I've been doing that for, I think, 13 episodes. Tomorrow I have 1 more podcast to do, and then I'm off. I've had 5 podcasts in 5 days, so I'm grinding. But I've been doing that on Twitch and putting that on Spotify as well, so you can find that as DG and Friends. But you can find it everywhere podcasts are out. I've been trying to stay connected, and I've really looked at this podcasting platform and what you and I are doing right now as a really great way to engage each other for networking purposes, of course, and also to just like make new friends and engage new crowds and cross-pollinate our people, you know.
Yes, sir.
So that's it, man. I'm podcasting and music is the big things for me right now. The podcast is probably my main focus right now, just because it's what I can do. When I can get back to playing guitar, I'm going to be on that heavily, because I got some new stuff to write, new stuff to learn, but that's down the road a little bit. I got to be patient with this injury.
Oh man, just heal up. Hey, I'm also been a personal trainer since 2007. Low key, just letting you know if you ever need any help, just let me know, man.
I will, for sure. I could always use help.
And for everyone that's viewing after this goes down, it's going to be also on YouTube. It's also going to be on Spotify, so keep your eyes on KINGSCAST Entertainment. I've seen a bunch of you post up in here. It's all good. Hey man, I appreciate you joining in, man. This has actually been a very pleasurable moment for me. Dude, I'm happy that I
Me
got
as
to meet
well.
you.
Me as well, man. I appreciate the opportunity. I'm happy to do it again whenever you want to. If you want to come do a hang with me on mine, you should because we'd probably have a great time. I would love to have you on. For some reason, I feel like me, you, and my buddy Derek would get along pretty good for one of the happy hour hangs. You should join us on a Friday one of these days.
Oh man, I'm down. I'm already down.
Okay. All right. I'll talk to Derek and we'll get it set up after the holidays.
Yes, sir. And I like to do this with a lot of the guys. Since you're my third episode, hey, third is always the greatest. So a lot of my guys, Daddy Dawson, Street Talker, and you, I would like to do another interview with you guys within the next, let's say, 5 months. Unless you end up coming on one of our sports talks, because it sounds like you're super passionate with UFC, and I got sports episodes coming, and I got actually college athletes that are joining in when it comes to basketball, football. So then me and you could be the UFC guys.
I'm
So
in. I love it. I'm down for sure.
all right, brother. Stay tuned and appreciate everything, and I'll hit you up later, man. Appreciate it.
All right. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks, brother.